By the way, I just have to tell you one last quick story because I just thought it was kind of a perfect story for this time, and then we'll go to the questions. So, I have this friend Amy, and she's a Capricorn, and so she has that sort of typical Capricorn thing where, like, she tries very hard. If she's not careful, I've been trying to talk with her a lot about offering and giving it over and relaxing into things. But when her Capricorn nature takes over, she just works very, very hard and overworks very, very hard, and then gets frustrated if she doesn't have the results, quote unquote, that all that hard work, was supposedly for. And she's actually a farmer and a gardener. And so she would take all this like huge work and effort and put it into growing these amazing crops, but then get really frustrated if, sometimes the crops didn't come up the way she wanted them, or, whatever. It's I thought kind of a great metaphor for all of life, whether you're a farmer or not, that, if you're offering, then you work, but then you're saying that the fruits of the effort really belong to the divine. If something doesn't come up, it'll come up a different way. So the thing that happened for her this week that I just love so much is that this has been going on for months, where she's been frustrated all of 2016. Different crops haven't worked out, or this or that. All of a sudden, she called me one day and she's like, the craziest thing is going on in the garden. And basically what happened, she never planted any squash. Like, this is such a good example of how the divine can make things happen that make no sense. She's planted a million other things. She's never planted any squash. And all of a sudden, there is squash everywhere in her garden. She has no idea, like, if the seeds sort of flew in from a neighbor, or whether some raccoons accidentally dropped. She has no idea. But whatever these squash are, they are growing like wild through her whole garden, and they're beautiful and they're massive. And of course, the whole thing's making me laugh because squash, if you think about zucchini, like, they're very phallic, right? And so to me, they're like this sign of this fertility. It's like she's got these fertility gods have sort of taken over her whole garden, and she's just watching this thing, and she's like saying, I'm just being taught such a lesson by this, because she said, I didn't do anything to make these squash grow, and they're everywhere, and she and her husband are like, they're cooking squash soup, and they're, giving them away to neighbors, and they're just have this abundance that came from doing nothing, even though, other things that she put enormous effort into haven't grown. So I'm just putting that out there for those of you. You may find something you've been put tremendous energy into hasn't flowered. Some other thing comes out of nowhere without doing anything. And it's growing like crazy, and it's bringing you abundance and joy if you're open. If you don't keep saying, oh, I'm going to be really mad that my radishes didn't grow when God's trying to send me 200 squash. So I just felt like it captured the moment, whether you want to apply it to relationship, there's somebody in your life that, it's not working with, and all of a sudden, there could be this whole other deal happening that you don't have to do anything to welcome into your life. Job could be the same way. It's really, to me, like a perfect depiction of divine source. If you're letting the divine be your source, go with where the green lights are. It's the simplest way I can say it. Go with the green lights. Don't sit there and battle with the red lights. If they're meant to become green, they'll change. Otherwise, you may have 5 green lights in front of you that you're not even paying attention to.